Hello and welcome to part 3 of the Mickey head tutorial. This is David Ward. When last I left you, we had gone in and gotten the general blocking of the head shape put in. So now we'll continue on with that and try to get some more detail added in, like the mouth and the eyes and things like that. First of all, I'd like to go ahead and fix up the nose a little bit. It's looking kind of weird in there. So I'm going to round off his nostrils in here. Just kind of eyeballing from, common sense, common life experience. You know your nostrils aren't weirdly shaped like that. I mean, they might be, but generally they're not. So get that rounded out. Select the right ones. There we go. All right. And maybe not quite as big. Select those guys. Alt-S will scale, make them skinnier. That's not what it stands for. Alt-S is to scale along the normals. So we'll scale them a little skinnier like that. Maybe move them in. And then maybe drag this guy down so there's not such a harsh transition there. Okay, that looks quite a bit better. Alright, so let's go to our front view, back to wireframe. Tab in edit mode, and let's turn on optimal display here in our subdivision surface, and that will show only what we're actually working with as far as the geometry and the edit mode goes. So now I want to start working on the mouth area. So let's get some of these down. This is going to be where his smile wrinkle line goes. So we obviously need to change our reference image a little bit again. Let's bump that. Actually, the side view looks okay. Let's move the mouth down to where it needs to go, about right there. Maybe add a few more loops right there, just so we have something to start shaping the lips around. Grab that guy. It's kind of hard to tell between that brick wall. I guess that's the edge right there. Then this will be the actual opening in his mouth right there. Okay, and this is the top of the lip. Actually, I guess, let's see. That needs to be the middle. Just like it's the middle on the bottom, needs to be the middle on the top, so it's nice and even. There we go. Grab that, put that back where it was. Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Haha, Monsters Inc. Okay, so now we'll get these situated. Alright. Okay, so that looks okay from the side perspective. Let's kind of get it lined up a little bit better on his chin as well while we're at it. Okay. And obviously down here as well. Just go ahead and grab all those, move those up. Okay, so we'll mess with the rest of the neck later on. Let's just focus on his face and chin and mouth area right now. Okay, so let's go to our front view, and actually back to the side. This here is going to be basically the outline of the lips. So we need to move the front view up a little bit, just so it fits that a little bit better. There we go. Okay, oops, too much. There we go. Alright, so now, go ahead and drag this down to where it's actually framing the lips themselves in. Make sure we're selecting the right ones. Right vertices. It's easy to select the wrong one, especially the more you get. So, okay, so we got that basically outlined there. I'm going to add another loop just outside of that and drag it really close to that, just so we have a nice sharper edge there, because the closer you have your vertices together, the more of a crease they're going to make, being that close to each other. So we'll deselect that. This one's a little too much. I'm going to move that down. If you hit G twice, you will slide along the edges there. Same thing as going at W. Is it W? No, I think it's Control E. Edge slide. Yeah, same thing. Edge slide. So you're just sliding along the edge there. Okay, so now if we were to come into solid view, you can see around his mouth, you kind of have a nice sharp crease there. So, okay, so that's looking okay. It's looking okay, but we still got a lot of work to do. Let's smooth the rest of his upper lip, his mustache area a little bit better. That's the back of the head, I think. One thing we can do, so we don't accidentally select the back of the head, is just to go ahead and get it out of the way. Just select all that and hit H, and that'll hide it. So now, it looks like I missed that vertex. Hide that. Okay, so now we won't accidentally select one of those vertices back there on accident. We won't accidentally select one on accident. Okay, so let's get all this smoothed up. And let's go to our side view, make sure we're getting everything lined up here. And let's grab these guys, move those in a little bit, maybe inside the lips. This is actually not a good idea. We want the inside of it where the mouth opening is. We don't want that to be one line. We want it to be two. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control R, and we're going to add another loop in here. And what that's going to do is going to give this opportunity to have an open mouth when we come in to start working on that. And it's also going to give us one more edge in here. However, since we have the back of the head hidden, if I hit Alt-H and unhide that, you can see it now created an N-gon right here, which is a face that has more than 4 edges. And we don't want that. We want to keep everything with 4 edges. So I'm going to go ahead and add another loop on this side, like so. Then I'm going to grab this face here, get rid of that, delete that face, and we'll grab the edge select, and then select these two opposite facing edges and hit F, and it'll create a face in between them. Same thing there. So now we have nice 4-sided faces everywhere. So good to go. So now, since we created a place for the inside of the mouth to go, let's go ahead and put that in there. Let's go to our side view, and we'll just extrude in just a couple of times, and then we'll mess with the actual inside of the mouth later on. So, excuse me, I'm going to go ahead and deselect the top row of this selection here. And this guy, move those down, turn off our proportional editing. There we go. And then go ahead and select that top row again. And you can see now we have a bit of a mouth opening. If I turn off the mirror, you can see it on the side view a little bit better. And actually, when we start working on the inside of the mouth, this is how we will do it. We'll turn that mirror off and come in here so we can actually see what we're doing. One problem with this, though, when the mirror's turned off, everything about it is turned off. So if we move in here like so, and then for some reason we get offset like that, even though the mirror's turned to clipping and everything, since it's turned off in the viewport, it's not going to keep everything glued to the middle. So if we turn that back on, you can see, if we go into perspective view, we can actually go inside the head. It's going through the middle. We don't want that, so let's go ahead and drag it over until everything pops back into the place. And we'll go ahead and scale it on the y-axis, kind of in a negative form, so we can get that inside of the mouth starting to round out the opposite way. So we'll just leave it like so for now. Come back to perspective view, and his lips kind of looking a little squared off here, and I don't want that, so let's kind of get that smoothed out a little bit better. Then, since we have the opening situated, now we can actually push the lips together so they're actually touching, like so, and his mouth would actually be closed, like so. Okay, so now let's looks kind of weird over here in the corner. You can kind of get a preview of how it'll look once you're done with it on this side, as you're working on this side, because this is the actual mirrored side, and it's, you know, looks a little bit better. So let's smooth that out by separating these vertices a little further apart. Remember, if they're close together, it adds a nice crease like we want in some places, but if we want it to be a little smoother, we want them to be further apart. So I'm going to select all those guys there in the corner of the mouth area, and I'm going to hit W, smooth, and that'll smooth them out a little bit better. And you can change the the smoothness by hitting, you can do it like W smooth, W smooth, W smooth a bunch of times if you want to, or you can just change the repeat here. It does the same thing. So we don't want it too much because then it starts kind of just making things look weird. So we'll just do like so. And let's go ahead and turn on our proportional editing yet again. Kind of get this corner of his mouth back in here. Okay, so our front view, and looks like his chin is a little too wide. Kind of an angled row here, so let's start getting that a little more accurate. Okay, so now, like I said, since his head is kind of tilted at an angle, we're only doing half of it. It's going to kind of cut parts of it off, so it's really looking really skinny here. So I'm going to go ahead and select this area here, and actually just the outside area. And we're just going to make that a little bit bigger, and then maybe up here on the head as well. Make that a little bit bigger. So it's a little more natural looking, not quite as cone headish shaping. Let's give him a little bit fuller cheek area, like so. That bottom lip right there is kind of bugging me. Let's make it a little smaller. And then this area is kind of bugging me too. Let's go to our side view. Now, for the sake of the tutorial, I probably won't get as detailed with this as I would like to, just because, you know, I don't want to keep you guys all day with, you know, being nitpicky about little things that bug me when, you know, they actually probably look fine. But I'll try to get it, you know, to a reasonable amount of detail within the given time. So. Okay, so sides of his mouth poking out a little too far, you can see over here. So let's grab the actual corner of the mouth itself and just drag that back with that gradually on the y-axis. If you just hit the Y button, it'll move it along the y-axis itself. So we'll just drag that back. And it's looking kind of weird right there. So let's just play with this until it gets to a satisfactory point. And I think that'll probably work. Let's move this in here. Okay. Excuse me. Okay, so now we have his mouth and his nose ready to start detailing. But before I do all that, I want to add his eye area, his eye socket. So let's go and let's put our 3D cursor right there about in the middle of his eyeball. Bink, right there. We'll go to our side view and do the same thing here. Since it's kind of, the front of it's right there and it's probably curving. Let's go ahead and tell you what, let's go ahead and add a UV sphere right there. And we don't need it to have 32 segments. Let's go ahead and set it to 16. Set the size, maybe a bit down to about 0.2. That's still way too big, but we can actually see what we're working on here a little better this way. So let's scale it down, and we'll put it about right there. And let's rotate it 90 degrees. And that's going to be roughly, probably about the shape of his eye. Of course, it's going to be spherical, but I want to move it. Let's tab out. Oops, actually, I did it in edit mode of the head model, so it's now part of the head model. I don't want that. I'm going to go ahead and hit P. And I'm going to separate it. So now it's separated out. Tab out of edit mode now, and I can select the eyeball now. But unfortunately, the origin is down here where the origin of the head model is. So I want to change that to where the actual sphere is centered. So I'm going to say object transform origin to 3D cursor. Boom. And it'll put the origin right there. However, it's still got the mirror applied, so we'll go ahead and get rid of that. But now it's a freewheeling sphere all on its own, even though we added it in edit mode. So this way, it's lined up pretty close, maybe a little too high. Let's drag it down just a tad. We can use this circle here that will outline the iris there. We can kind of get a better idea of what location it needs to be. So about right there, maybe a little bigger. And then we'll go to our side view, and we can drag this forward to about right there. And we can see we need to now bring the side reference down a little bit. So profile right there. And let's go ahead and collapse that top view. I don't need it for anything. The side view, drag that down just a bit. Maybe 0.50. There we go. That looks okay. Okay, so now we have an eyeball to model our eye socket around. That looks kind of weird there, doesn't it? So let's grab our head model again, and let's go to our front view. And all of the, I want to hide the back view so I don't accidentally select some of that mess. Go ahead and hide that. Okay, front view. Now, all of the area I want to be included in the eye area, the eye socket, I'm going to select all of that. And actually, I would like one more piece there, but let's deselect these. And probably that one. So let's scale this up a little bit so it kind of encompasses the whole area. And let's add, tell you what, let's add a loop there just so we have some elbow room to mess with rounding it out right there. Okay, sorry, I had to pause recording there. My throat was going nuts, making me cough, so I had to take a little cough break. Okay, so let's get the eye area, the eye socket area, kind of ready to go. Now I noticed in solid view, we've got a weird crease up here on the top of the nose, and that's namely because that guy was so far down, but also this guy and that guy. So let's round that out a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to take these four guys right here, go back to our wireframe view, and scale it up just a bit, maybe on the z-axis. So I want it to kind of coincide with the top of the cheek area, and then also kind of with the brow area. So we'll select all these guys and go to our side view now, and kind of get that lined up just a bit. Then we'll scale it, or actually hit E to extrude it, and then we'll scale it way down. And this will be the actual eye socket, the actual hole that the eyeball is in. So let's get that lined up where it needs to go, like so. Don't worry about the eyelids for now. We'll get to that shortly. So I'm going to create the house for the eyeball to sit in. Okay, so that's going to be that right there. And what we can also do at this point is go ahead and get rid of these faces there, so we can actually have the hole there and not worry about some of that geometry coming through. So back to the side view, you can see we need to bring that forward like so, and actually start shaping it to fit where it should go there. It's actually going to be corner of the eye there. All right. And don't worry, we'll add more detail to this as we go. Just like the mouth, we'll add some more loops around this so we can actually have, you know, some eyelids with wrinkles and things like that. Although most of that will be done with the texture mapping. Okay, so that's pretty close. Now we can go into solid view and kind of get that lined up with the actual eyeball itself. Don't worry about the rest of it just yet. We just want the actual opening itself. We won't worry about what's around the opening. We just want that opening itself to fit flush with the eyeball. Now we can have a little bit of elbow room here in the inside corners because you have the, I don't remember what it's called, the little pink area, little tear duct type of thing. So we can have that fill in some of that gap there. But the rest of it needs to fit pretty close to the eye. So now we've got that basically in there. Go ahead and bring this cheekbone area back up now. Maybe down a little bit. So now let's add some loops around here. We'll start with one right there. Kind of get that situated. Then maybe add another one out here. Drag this to his temple area. Okay, so let's add one more in here. And maybe grab that one there. Move it forward so we can actually start coming out of the eyeball now, so we're actually not intersecting with it. Okay, and now also what we want to do is select the whole outer, or the whole inner frame of the eyelid, the eye socket. We're going to extrude that in just a bit, just to give it the illusion of thickness, illusion of thick skin there. We can add another crease, another loop there, so we have a nice crease on the outside of the lid, like we did around the lips. So now we can start bringing that out. Actually have the eyelid start forming, as you can see. And we'll drag the inner loop. We can drag that as far back in there as we need to, so it always intersects with the eyeball. Scale it down even. And now we have basically his eye socket. So if we go to our front view, you can see kind of need some work in this area here. That'll be where the little pink area thing there is. Or it is there. Just kind of start lining this up a little bit better. Okay. Looks like we came a little too far over here. Alright, so now we can get in and start cleaning this up a little bit better, making these look a little more realistic with the eyelids and the musculature. And we'll also need to add in his eyebrows themselves. Okay, so not bad, not bad. Let's go ahead and do one thing there just to get things looking a little better, so he doesn't have this empty eye socket over here. Select the eyeball. I'm going to add a mirror to it. I know we deleted it off of there once we separated it from the head, but you can add a new one. I'm going to pop it up to the top of the stack there. And now, right now, it's mirroring around its center, around its origin point, which is the orange dot. I would like to have it centered around the head so that we have an eyeball in both sockets. So all you have to do is say mirror object right here. And I'll say cube, and that's our head. Let's tell you what, let's go ahead and rename that. While we're at it here, cube, we'll say Micky underscore head, Micky head. Okay, so now we use that and it automatically changed the mirror object in there, and that's what it's mirroring around. So now we have Micky head with 2 eyeballs. And so we got the detail of the mouth and started the eyeballs themselves. That's going to be it for part 3. In part 4, we'll go in and start kind of shaping the whole eye area up a little bit better, and kind of just overall adding some more detail to the rest of the face. And maybe, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe we'll get to the ears. But that's going to be it for part 3. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in part 4.